Cool. All right, let's get started. Everyone's jumping on here. So, hey everyone, we're going to be doing a sort of like our regular storage meetup, but different. This is our storage marketing meetup. Uh, every time we do our, kind of regular meetups, which are a little more free flowing, common thread all the time is marketing. So I like to throw these in. I think we're on like a once a month clip kind of a thing where we just focus on marketing. I talked to Corey and Eva. I'm like, what should we talk about next time? And we came to the consensus of we're going to focus on ads this time. You know, we all know the importance of just getting the phone to ring, and right now it's competitive as ever. And sometimes if focus on these ads, it might give you a little competitive edge in your local market. So it's important. And these are the kind of things that I'm always trying to take notes on and try to implement as well. Because yeah, it just takes one technique, one strategy that, man, if it can work for you, get some extra rentals, it more than pays for itself. So that's gonna be the focus of today. So it's gonna be more of kind of just a spotlight with us three here talking, but please, comments, questions, put it in chat. I'll do my best to keep an eye on that. I'll throw in some of the questions as we go along. I'm sure we'll have time at the end as well for a little Q&A. So feel free to keep, you don't have to jump in, but you can put it in comments. Just type it in and I'll keep an eye on that. All right, sound good? We all good? All right. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Who wants to go first?
Let Corey go first.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to tell us a little bit about yourself first. Give us a
Sure.
little
Yeah.
30.
That 30-second spiel, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
basically, I'm Corey Garrett. I've been in the storage industry for over 20 years. I've actually seen it evolve into this digital space, right? That's one of those things I always tell everyone, be careful what you wish for because you get put in charge of it. I kept asking my CEO at the time, I'm like, hey, we need a better website than the one we have because I keep getting phone calls because I was managing the call center at the time. And that launched my digital marketing career. So I actually handled all of the digital marketing and the call center for our larger operator in San Diego, well, California. We were headquartered in San Diego, and it's just been a wild ride to see how much things have changed in our space over the last 20 years. It used to be, nobody would even talk about ads. We didn't even understand. So it's just been interesting to see our industry really evolve and change. And it is now highly competitive and it's a fun space to be in. So I really enjoy it, but I always say I'm a glutton for punishment. So that's me.
I think we
Um,
all are. That's why we're here.
yeah, exactly. But it's been interesting to kind of watch things. And so now I'm consulting and I'm helping people with their digital marketing and their call centers. Basically, customer experience is what I'm focused on.
Sweet. Well, for today's focus, we're focusing on ads. So
Yeah,
cool. Jump on
sure.
in.
Yeah. Eva, do you want to do your introduction first and then we can get started?
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay.
Let's do it that way. So, hello, everybody. My name is Eva Chavez. I've been doing marketing for about 15 years now, in storage specifically, about 10. What I've done has kind of been a modge podge of everything. I started off at the facility level, or not facility level, a property management level, where I was doing digital marketing for a portfolio of anywhere from 11 to 20 facilities because they were constantly acquiring, selling, and by transitioning facilities over to either new buyers or uh, purchasing them themselves. So that was the first 4 years, and then another 4 years I did in web stack development at a company that did pretty much everything that has to do with anything in technology for the storage industry, and that was for another almost 4 years there as well. While I was there, I was able to really see for the first time that marketing, I knew when I was at the property management level, marketing was very ignored. And so I decided, I want to kind of get behind that. That's why I moved over to the technology side of things. And then even further, when I moved into the technology side, I saw that there was still silos there for marketing, where I was then stuck behind that wall, that paywall, that people couldn't get to me unless they had that specific technology. And I said, I don't really want to be behind this wall anymore. I want to be this person who I am today, where I'm sitting on these calls talking to Corey and Jim, and we're having a great time punishing ourselves every day trying to figure out what the new algorithm is going to bring to us. But that's what I've been doing for the past, 10 years of storage marketing. Now 2 years, I've had my own business where I basically help people with ads and SEO for the most part. That's my two main things that I really get get on the nitty gritty and with the SEO and ads.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. You froze.
Uh-oh. We lost Ava.
Yeah, she'll jump back in.
I hope so.
Oh, there you go. You
Yes.
froze up for
Oh,
about.
did I connect? Oh, dang, when did I cut off?
I don't know. You at least had a good face. You weren't going like a weird face.
Right.
I was smiling. I was cute. Thanks. Well, I cut off. Do you guys know where I was about? I cut off.
Last 10 seconds.
You're
Okay.
into the nitty gritty, but like the last 10 seconds. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I love the technology of it. That's me. That's what I've been doing for the past 2 years as owner operator of Beacon Ave Marketing.
Cool. Perfect. Here, I'll do a 15-second one here.
Okay.
Jim Ross, 3 Mile Storage Management. That's my main day job, is doing property management. Been doing these meetups is just kind of a more of an outlet, being able to, meet everybody and kind of get a community going. I think it's great having these kind of events just to see issues that you're going through and bring up questions. That's what makes us have content, and it just keeps having that flywheel, keep bringing that content out there. So hopefully you're getting some value out of these meetups. We'll keep them coming. I will shut up now because you're here for the ads. So let's just get onto that. You guys are the professionals. You take it away.
Yeah. All right. Well, one of the things that I think is really helpful when you're considering ads, and it's one of those, do you or don't you? And I always say you should. If you've got the budget and you're asking that question, you probably need to go ahead and do the ads. One of the things that has been extremely helpful for me with Google Ads, particularly, is if you are struggling in a market where you rank really well close to your location, but it's not necessarily where all the people are, right? And this is the thing that has been a big challenge. Everybody's like, well, I ranked really great, but there's not a lot of density there. I'm 10 or 15 minutes away from town, and I really need to drive that traffic. You can do a lot of SEO around that, but one of the best drivers that you can do is do really targeted ads for that location. And the nice thing with Google Ads, if you're working with a vendor or you're going through and trying to figure out Google Ads on your own, is that you can really hyper localize those ads and you can really target them. And I think that's something, and I've worked with other agencies previously, and unless you've got somebody who's really familiar with that hyper local marketing, I think that can be missed oftentimes. And so that gives you a lot of flexibility to really target those locations where the traffic is. And so that's something I've just had a lot of conversations recently, Eva, you probably too, where people are like, I ranked really well, but and Jim, you've shown the maps before on calls, right? And you can see those surrounding outlying areas. And you can say, okay, well, great, I rank really well nearby. Well, if that's not where your customers are and you're having trouble ranking in those areas organically, ads is a great layer to add in to be hyper focused, hyper targeted, make sure that you're targeting, a specific zip code, a specific area. It's a great way to drive traffic if you're struggling organically. And I think that's something not a lot of agencies have really been able to dial in. I think that's something where everybody's kind of struggled. They don't understand, right? And that's something I think that's been a big challenge. Eva, is that something that you've been seeing? Oh, she's on mute.
Oh yeah, sorry. I've definitely seen that and just connection. So that's the biggest two things is the conversion and the connection, being able to delineate where those came from.
Yeah. And I
And
think
with the Google ad, with ads real quick for Google ads, I'm just trying to think. I have a couple locations that I can name off the top of my head. When you do like the satellite view of your site, yeah, we rank awesome in our 3 mile area, but there's no population around us. It's like all these pockets that are
yeah.
outside.
Yeah. And so that's a great way to really look at it. I think for me, one of the things that I always try to remember when we're talking about ads and marketing is we should never be operating in a silo, right? The things that you're doing organically and the things that you're doing with paid should be married together. And I think that's where you can struggle a lot if you're organic, if your organic ads aren't really, if your organic efforts are targeted one way and your ads are targeted another, and the two teams don't really meet, it makes it a big challenge. And I think that's where understanding where your traffic is coming from and the conversions around them is super important. So that's the other thing too, right, Jim, is like just being able to make that attribution of, okay, I know I spent this much money. Did I really get any rentals? And I think a lot of people have worked with agencies where they haven't even had that level of granularity. And unfortunately, even some of the website platforms that are out there currently, they don't even have the capability to do that. And it makes it very, very challenging. So as you're thinking through, like, I would need to do ads. What am I doing? I think one of the conversations also that you should be having with whomever you're working with is, can I be able to attribute my ad spend into rentals? Because I think that's where a lot of things have been missed as well, is just making sure, okay, I'm spending $400 a month. Am I actually getting any rentals from that? And if you don't have a website platform that enables you to actually track that, it makes it exceedingly difficult for you to make really good decisions on whether or not your ads are making you any money at the long run, right? And I think that's a big challenge.
Is that, are they getting better about that? I know before it was just like, good luck, trying to track it. Are they getting
Well,
better, like, about being able to track that though? Because that's the whole point. Is I don't want to
Are,
spend
are
money
Corey and I getting better? Yes.
over here.
Are the websites getting better? Some of them are. Some of them are. I'm not,
yeah.
without specific, maybe I might call out names a little bit later if somebody asks me a question that pertains to that particular person. But
I mean, go ahead. You, sorry.
but in particular, I would say that there are better websites that are coming to the forefront that are really, I would say, being better competitors to the big dogs that have been there and the staple and that everyone kind of just defaults to.
Okay. Because that's
Yeah.
the whole point. Is I don't want to waste owners' money if I can't track it. Bottom line, that's just it. You know,
Yeah.
I tell them like spend $500 to $1,000 on Google Ads and hope for the best. And do you get a boost in rentals? Oh, and just automatically attribute it to that. No, I want to be able to track it. As simple as
Yeah.
that sounds.
Right. And I mean, that's something that I struggled with when we first initially started doing any of the advertising so many moons ago, was just actually being able to attribute that and having the conversations and making sure that people understand how that all works. And at the end of the day, for me, I was the marketing manager and I'm answering to C-level, and it's like, well, I don't know. I don't have that level of detail. And that really made me dig in and learn a lot about how that should work. And that's why I think I'm so diligent about making sure that I can explain those things and understand.
So as a kind of bottom line is, yeah, you can probably try to do some of this yourself, but it's probably best left to experts to set this stuff up so you're not wasting your money and you can actually track it better than you can on your own.
Work with somebody very closely. I think that's actually a great point. There's a lot of us who've been doing this for a long time. Um, and that level of understanding and expertise is so helpful, like just so, so helpful. So I don't know. I think I just saw a question in chat about like heat map and the density and those
Yeah,
kinds
there
of
are a couple
things.
of questions.
Yeah, yeah. So I've got an example here. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna share a screenshot really quickly with you guys if you don't mind. So you can kind of see what we're talking about. I'm working with someone and I bet we can kind of give you a good example here.
Perfect.
All right,
I
so
like the show and tell.
I know we love the show, don't we? All right, let's see if it'll show. Uh, is it gonna give me, what is it doing? It doesn't wanna, I'm trying to make sure that we don't have names. And I only have the area and I've got a screenshot, but it doesn't want to just show the screenshot. So let me minimize this real quick and see if we can get this to cooperate with us here.
We won't tell who it is. We're all friends and family here. Come on.
Well,
I know, I know,
it's one of those things.
I know.
If she was on the call, she'd probably let me, but I'm gonna, you know how that goes. Let's see here. All right. Is it gonna, why? Technology is great when it works. I'm telling you.
Oh, you can keep messing with us. We can keep looking here.
Yeah, but here, I'm just gonna export this so that we can see it. This will work.
If it always worked, I would not have a job.
Exactly. Exactly. So let's see.
Well, as you're doing that, top of your head, because I get this a lot when people are doing Google Ads, maybe for the first time. Do you recommend like a certain budget, dip your toe in the water, and kind of get some data rolling?
I think Eva, I think we're pretty aligned, when you're looking at it, if you're super targeted and you're very efficient and you're looking to do something, something in the $300 range is very doable. There's a lot of people who are spending way more than that, way, way, way more than that. But I think you can really start at that level. Eva, is that what you're seeing?
Yes. And so like just to like clarify, you can spend $1,500. I
Oh,
have
you can
clients
all day, all day.
spending the $1,500 that I'm happy with them spending that $1,500 because I can track those conversions back to, I think right now it's $132 cost per conversion. So, and that's a reservation and a rental, like that no calls, nothing, no fluff on that. So I'm okay with that. But if I was to start somebody that didn't have that kind of conversion integration, I'd be remiss. So it really that's the other thing. It's like you're a marketing person spending $1,500 without having the availability to track is almost like them they want to waste your money because we're all kind of blind at that point. We're all doing the same thing. So $300 to $400 is going to give you the availability, the search intent, and the impression share that you really need.
Yeah. And I think if you don't have that visibility, it's like you're putting everything into the big black hole. And I think that's the challenge, right? You're in the big black hole. But I've got my screen working now, so I can show you a little bit about what I mean.
Good. Yeah.
All right. So when you're talking about the density, right? And what you're looking at. So you can actually do heat maps, and this is something that's super helpful for you to kind of look at and do. But with the heat maps, you can actually see there's the pinpoint where the number one is here. Let me zoom in just a little bit more for you guys.
Yeah.
So you can see this is where the facility is located, right? And I'm tracking storage near me and storage units near me in this example. But you can see in this map where all the population is, and we're not ranking really well in those areas. So Google Ads or Bing Ads are a great way for you to help capture those the leads from that traffic in an area where you're not showing up very well organically. And I think that's a great way to layer things in. It makes it so much easier if you're tracking this information, it makes it really easy for you to then make those decisions of where I want to spend that ad. And I think there was a question in chat about targeting. You can target by zip code, you can target by a radius around your facility, those sorts of things. But for me, when I'm looking at this, one of the things that I like to look at is population density within those zip codes, so that you can get a better idea. And if you're working with a good vendor, we can do a little bit of research for you as well and let you know what kind of search volumes are in those areas so that you can really, really target those things.
No, that's great. Yeah, again, it all just comes down to squeezing every dollar you can and maximizing what your budget is. So if you can target those kind of areas like that, get more bang for your buck, for sure. I got a
Yeah.
question for you. Not to hijack the chat, but question. When it comes, because I know all the owners and I go through this too, competing with the big boys. I mean, they're just throwing tons of cash in the markets for their ads. How are you supposed to compete against that? Do we have
Not that hard.
Okay. Look at it, spoken with confidence. All right.
Sorry, I've been doing it for 10 years. But yeah, not that hard. They don't do a very good job. It's when you have smaller people like the SROA or what's some other ones? Some of the smaller guys that have a lot of facilities and they'll like sometimes surround you with their facilities. Those guys will be more difficult because they have a more refined team behind their marketing than I would say Extra Space does. They really kind of just throw everything at the wall and see what sticks, and then they don't take anything down anyways. I've had an Extra Space. I've had an Extra Space like advertising, and I looked, and I think the nearest Extra Space that I could find for that one was like at 40, like over 40 miles from the facility. So it was
Yeah.
like, what is? I mean, maybe they're doing market research, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It was pretty
Right.
expensive market research.
So it comes back down to, again, this is a local market. There's a local strategy that we're always going to keep coming circling back to. This is very hyper local strategies. So like you just said, sometimes the REITs are just a blanket spread approach, where if you can be highly focused on your target market, yeah, that's going to benefit you, as long as you know what you're doing, have the people behind
Right.
you steering in the right direction. Okay. Okay.
Well,
Anything?
I think the other thing is you have to remember you do have a competitive advantage. There's something that you offer that they don't. And if you can highlight that and highlight that really well, it really can make a huge difference, right? And so, you don't have to go with big blanket statements. You can target smaller long tail terms where you're going to be able to convert that traffic because you're exactly what that person's looking for. So there's a lot of strategy behind it if you work with somebody who's very familiar with the space.
What about headlines when it comes to for the Google ads? Is that 9 times out of 10? I usually see it's like you're moving special kind of a thing. Is that still the best
That's
strategy?
that's it. I mean, really, you're gonna do that. I usually do like a range of unit sizes that you have available at your facility. So if you start at 5 by 10, then I start at 5 by 10 through whatever your largest size is, and put available so that people can then say like, oh, that's the size that I need. They it's like thought recognition. They see like more recognizable sizes. They'll go, oh, I need that anyways. So that's the place I'm gonna go to, even if you have the same special as somebody else. That'll be like a delineating or like a determining factor for somebody, and then also just your address.
Okay,
So
perfect. Yeah. What else you got, Corey, before we move on?
Oh, just make sure that you work with again, we're talking about hyperlocal marketing, right? So, making sure that you're targeting those words and using the city that you're looking for. So I've actually seen where people just don't even have that in some of their headlines. And yeah, you just need to draw the dots for the customer, like Eva was saying, right? Moving special, the size, the city. That's what they're looking for. So give them what they're looking for. Makes it easy.
I had a question for you though, when it comes to for the Google ads. I mean, obviously, setting it up correctly is probably the number one priority. Obviously, is getting all set up, but then ongoing, as you kind of ongoing maintenance. What are you looking for? Are you kind of changing up and trying different ads and trying different call to actions, or what are you doing on a monthly basis?
it really just depends on what the numbers are telling me. Essentially for me, there is a specific parameters of impression share, top of the page rate, and absolute top of the page rate that I really like to see. Those numbers really have to be consistent for me. If I'm not seeing that, then there are things that I will do to change that, and that changes time over competitors coming on board randomly out of nowhere. You'll have somebody jump on and have, from going from I've had sometimes go from 13 competitors to 16 competitors on the first page in 1 month. And then you're like, oh, okay, now we're sharing that impression share over 3 more people who are actually a little bit more refined than an Extra Space or a Public Storage. So those are the things that like I'm constantly monitoring. Who's coming into the new space, who's coming into the space that's new? What are my impression share numbers looking like? Also, is my cost per click going up? If my cost per click is going up, that means I'm getting less clicks just in general for the amount of time that I'm on that first page. So I need to figure out what's going on in that, what's happening. So those are some of the things that I'll look at. If those things all kind of just maintain or stay the same, it's an easy campaign and we don't have anything going on, then we don't really need to make a ton of changes. And it could be just just check it out and do a budget increase or decrease every now and then, and that's it. Or it could be, month over month. Like I have really competitive areas. Some like one in particular I can think of off the top of my head is in Augusta, Georgia. It goes from month to month so high and so low. And I've tried to figure out, is it because of weather? Is it because of this? And some months I think it is because of weather mostly, that I've been dealing with some issues. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I really need to look at that during my ad scheduling, and I monitor that and see if I need to bring down the budget if we're going to have a heat wave in the area because people won't move in that area. So yeah, so certain things like that is that's what I'm talking about. Like, and I think Corey gets to this like, granular of a level as well. When it comes down to ads, it's like when you have somebody who's been doing this for that long, we start to look at everything because we want to know why is it that this thing that was working perfectly fine just last month now all of a sudden isn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you have the experience and the knowledge, and just frankly, been doing this forever, that you can help interpret the data. Your average Joe looks at the data and just goes, "All right, I guess we're
Yeah.
okay."
Yeah, my
No,
cost per click is fine. I don't really need to make any adjustments, right? And it's like, well, but is it really, is it giving you rentals, right? And so those are the things where those are the finer points where as long as you're evaluating, it's not a set it and forget it kind of thing, right? Oh, I got my ad set up. Great. I'm doing okay. My cost per click is fine. We're golden. I think that's the trouble that a lot of people can get into when you're DIYing it, right? Is like, okay, well, this looks great, and I'm not spending too much money, and it's within budget, so it must be working. So
no,
I think there's a
exactly.
lot of finer points to that, where if you work with someone, and there's a lot of great people out there, but just, making sure that you've got things dialed in and you're evaluating them because
No,
it does change.
no, for sure. That's why I want to, have this kind of focus on these marketing ones, because I can't tell you how many times I'm talking to owners or potential clients and that kind of thing. And part of the little hit list of questions I ask is, what's your marketing budget? And you know where I'm going with this. It's like, what now?
Yeah.
Because so many don't even have even really thought of a marketing budget, not even a strategy, obviously. So that's why we do this. We're trying to bring this kind of stuff to light, and shine a light on it, because it's vitally important, and it's just going to keep getting more important as we move on and getting more competitive. So, all right, kind of looking at the time here. Eva, you're up.
Hey guys. Yeah, no. To circling back to just that point, it's like, what's your marketing budget? It's either what or it's my best friend or my kid who dabbles in computer here or there, and it's fine. I always say my best clients are people who have somebody that I can talk to who specifically has somebody who talks about marketing with me. So it's like a layered cake. Like if I'm reporting to the owner operator, that's awesome, that's great. But if I'm able to talk to somebody who can then help me implement some of the things that maybe are behind the scenes that I don't necessarily manage, that's also a great way to kind of like push that needle for me. I use whatever resources I can whenever I can. So if I have a third person, like a director of marketing that I can latch onto and kind of funnel information to, then I'm doing that as much as I possibly can.
Nice.
I think that's a great point, Eva. Again, marketing doesn't operate in a silo. I was just talking about organic and market and digital ads, but at the same time, marketing, especially in a storage industry, doesn't operate in a silo. Operations very much impacts marketing, and marketing very much impacts operations. And I think as you're working together with a partnership with someone, it's super critical, right? It could be all of a sudden your ads are doing great and then you're not converting and they raise their rates, their street rates, right? And the web prices, or something went wrong with the promo, or the website stopped working. I mean, there's so many different components that if you're working really closely in a partnership with somebody who really understands the space, it's a very synergetic thing versus if you hire someone to do the thing and they don't really understand operations or vice versa, you're not going to get as much benefit in the long run.
Yeah, no, you're not. And it's like, it's to that point, furthering that point, like when I'm talking to somebody who already has that background and I'm not having to explain what the difference is, like we're breaking it down today, I'm going down to the most granular level. What's the difference between traffic, leads, and conversions? And really just what is that for everybody? If you really understand that a visit to your site is traffic, I have to explain that. People are like, well, what's traffic, or what's a click? That's a visit to your site. That's somebody who went from that first page to your website. And then sometimes I'll even have the next question after that will be, is that a lead? No, that's not a lead. That's somebody that just came to your website. It could be anybody. It could be somebody who found you informationally or topically important at that moment for something that you wrote in your blog. And that's okay because we do want that kind of traffic if we're dealing with SEO. Focusing more in on the ads portion of it, we don't really care. traffic is numbers. Traffic is numbers. Numbers is conversions. Is what I attest it to. So the more clicks you can get, the more conversions you're going to ultimately be able to get, because that's just how sales works in general. And then when we get to the lead section of it, I get this where this is where people kind of get it really confused, or where I get reports from other agencies that'll, kind of just jumble everything together, where it's like calls, form fills, and even reservations to the end of that point. Like if a reservation doesn't take more than just the phone number and email, I don't really think that that's a full conversion of if it has to have at least like phone number, email, some type of address. Getting a lot more information, a lot more commitment from that, like some of the reservation platforms that I do see, I will count those more of as a conversion than I will as a lead. But if it's just literally phone number or an email and a name, I'm thinking that's more on the lead side of things. And then truly, at the end of the day, for us, a rental is a conversion, right? So I think there's a lot of misaligned ad objectives because of that confusion within those different topics, or those different channels that people are not understanding. So that's the biggest thing I think that people need to go in and ask their agency, hey, when you give me this report, can we funnel out the different types of conversions we're getting? Can you funnel out the different types of conversions we're getting? That's another big question. Can you? Is this on you, or is this on my website company? Because there's two people that are married together in this marketing world, and we'll never be able to get away from them. I can't. It's a bad relationship sometimes, but I can't divorce them. Websites sometimes they'll beat me black and blue, but it's sad, but we just have to deal with it. And we talk to you guys about this as much as we can on the back end. We say, hey, really look at your website and what it does for you. Because if you're looking to start to step into this marketing side where you're paying for ads, do you want to throw that money into a black hole where it's just a funnel of, hey, here's a bunch of types of conversions that possibly led to a rental? And that's where I think mine and Corey's gluttony or for punishment
For
comes in.
punishment, yeah.
We're like, we'll still take you on. We'll compile the conversions as best we can. I've found methodologies within GTM, Google Tag Manager, when you marry that with certain types of websites that are out there, bigger providers that are out there, there are ways to track conversions. But it is very difficult, and you have to know the person knows the actual provider and what they're working with. So that's kind of where my whole thing is just making sure the data that you're receiving from your agency is correct. You've got clicks, you've got conversions, you've got click-through rates, but really are we looking at rentals, reservations, and then even calls from ads? Like, are we delineating what all of that is, where it's coming from? And I'll share my screen really quickly. I made a little presentation for us today.
We were also going to hit on Facebook, right?
Hmm?
We were going to hit on Facebook, some Facebook ads. We're going to try to do that. If not, it's fine.
Yeah, I think my whole spiel was more on Google Ads.
Yeah, cool. That's more important anyway. Okay, let's go.
Go
So
with
you
big
guys,
one first.
yeah, if we want to kind of like migrate over, I'm going to do a little bit on Bing ads as well, was the other thing that I was going to touch on, because I do want to bring that back up to the forefront and have people start to pay attention to it a little bit, just because it is coming up a little more on the back end. But that was where I think there was a little bit of a segue that I wanted to do. So looking at these numbers, this is one of my clients for the last 45 days. This is for 4 properties. You can see what I wanted to show here was numbers ultimately. So you can see here we've had a lot of clicks over the 4 facilities. Click-through rate is pretty good click-through rate. An average click-through rate that we see within the industry standard is like 4.5 to 5%. So 7% is a little bit higher than what we normally see. Good impressions. And then you see here this conversions. I've filtered out anything that has to do with organic, anything that has to do with local, anything that has to do with that's not specifically correlated to rentals or reservations. No calls in this number here. You can see over here, there is also a larger number, which is 570. That's an all conversion. That includes the local service ads, or what is the equivalent of local service ads to ads, Google ads. And I will touch on that in a second here, but this is the fluffy number. This is the number that I constantly see people getting in their report, this 570 conversions. It's a beautiful number. And yes, I can bring that up to my client. And I do show them every single one of these conversions where they come from. A lot of these are actually considered store visits. These are people who have never interacted, talked to, or rented anything like that on the website in the last 365 days, who also go to the GBP and hit directions to the store and arrive at the store. So that's kind of the reports that I give to my clients, and then we break it down. We go over all the rentals, each one of the facilities. These are the separate facilities. I think right here for the last 45 days at this facility, we had I think 28 rentals, which is, it was a phenomenal month. And this is the one of the ones is like hot and cold. One month I'm getting 10 or maybe 5 rentals, and then the next month I'm getting 28. So that,
And those are rentals that you can attribute directly to ads?
Yeah.
Or, see, there you
these
go.
are all ads.
I just
This,
want to
this
bring
has
that up
nothing to
again.
do with anything other than ads.
Yeah, I just want to bring it up again. I don't want to gloss over just the rentals, because that's rentals directly related to ads. So it's very
Yes.
important.
And then when I ran this against because I do also manage the SEO for this client, when I ran this against the SEO and I saw how many rentals they got in comparison to their organic, we actually get more rentals through our ads than we do for organic. A lot of these facilities are actually newer facilities, so they don't have a whole lot of footprint. So their local organic is not very good. That's what I'm working on. That's what I'm trying to build up on the back end. But in the forefront, this is what we're doing to mitigate that. And them being in such populated areas, they're actually able to get in front of all of those people who have had time on site to beat them out and get these conversions. And they have a fantastic special. Kills the market. So I'm like, if anybody sees that special and they're on the first page, and I do this through the other part of this is that I think the biggest thing is people are asking now the local service ads. I've been doing a little bit of research into the local service ads, and Corey, jump in if I'm misunderstanding, but I feel that's more for like plumbers, electricians. That's where they're kind of gearing it to, and I don't really feel it's absolutely 100% available for us yet. But I might have misconstrued my understanding of it. And also the way that we manage ads, GBP, is kind of already, we do an ad within Google Ads that is on the locations page as well. It's your location asset. So when you want to be found on the first page, whether it's organic or local, you are being found on that section.
And I am starting to actually see LSA's local service ads in self-storage. So there are people who are going through and doing all the steps to get the verification.
It's a lot.
But it's a lot. So I mean, if it's something that you guys are really considering, it is being done in our space. But there are a lot of steps involved to get through the vetting process. So just kind of keep that in mind. But it's definitely something that I'm starting to see more and more.
Is this the one where you have to do
say local service ad is just another way of Google giving them
Another way of
that you
Google
know
getting
these
everything at the top of the page, right? So these, the local service ads show up before even the other ads. I mean, it's very
it's
interesting.
expensive.
Yeah, and it's interesting to watch to see how that plays out. But yeah, as Chrissy was saying, yeah, verification is a beast, and it is. It can be tedious and tiresome, but if the strategy is to get at the top of the page, that's another way to do it. But it
Yeah,
comes fast.
I want to say something that you got brought up a few minutes ago, Eva. You were talking about especially for newer sites, when you're a brand new baby in Google's eyes, you don't have any domain authority. You almost have to do ads just to be able to get seen and start to get ranked, right? I mean, that should be a given.
Yeah.
I mean, in more competitive areas, absolutely 100%. Sometimes you're lucky and you're the only facility in the area.
Yeah.
And then, maybe you don't have to do ads.
Yeah,
That's like the
and I
one
think
time.
that's something actually I've been talking with several people, even just as part of the acquisitions process, right? Is I wish more people would look at how much your marketing needs to be in an area when you're coming in and you're evaluating those deals, because it's super important. It may be that you're going to have to plan for a much bigger budget than you ever expected because it's hyper competitive. And that's just something that it's just another layer. And I think, doing your homework and doing the research and looking at that space and what's happening in marketing is very important, especially as you open a new facility.
I want to hit some questions. Is there anything else you guys want to make sure we touch on?
I'll just leave this here.
Okay, what you got? Reason ads don't convert. Okay.
Everyone take a screenshot.
Yep, there you go.
Everyone take a screenshot, take this and recite this back. Are we doing this? Are we doing this? Are we doing this?
And again, and that's also why I have you guys on too. Before we forget, put your information in chat so people can reach out to you. Because again, when you call Eva and Corey, they'll actually walk you through this kind of stuff through their filter of what you're currently doing, and they can help bring some of this stuff to light, frankly. Because
For your facility.
yeah, exactly. Because if you look at a website, you look at your average Joe again is looking at a website going, it looks good. They're not seeing the guts of it. They're not seeing what's actually how it's being built and how it's being indexed and all that kind of stuff. And that's what you can look at. And so very, very important. So yeah, just go and leave that up there for a minute. I just want to look at some of the chat questions. All revolves around marketing. Oh, Tracy, I see this. I'm just very curious about this one. Tracy says they decided a 12-week promotion package for their city for radio spots. I've never done that before. Has anyone else?
Please tell me you're using call tracking. Please, 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 please make sure you're using a phone number that's recorded for that so you can attribute at least something. Have a special landing page that they're announcing on that ad, because if you don't do either of things, you are not going to be able to attribute any of that data to that campaign. And you're going to be spending money and you're going to go, how many rentals did I get? My 2 cents.
Yeah. If you're on there still on Tracy, there you go. Have a landing page and at least a tracking number.
Yep.
Yes, I'm here, and I definitely would need some assistance with that. I've never done that before, so I would need some assistance.
Feel free to reach out, because I had another client of mine that went through something very similar. And if you don't have those things, and the other piece is make sure that whatever landing page you're using is very clearly, easily spoken. Because you're doing something audio and it's not visual, and so you don't want traffic winding elsewhere. So please contact me.
Okay.
Happy to talk to you about that a little bit, Tracy.
All right. Thank you, Corey.
As we go, help me through this. If you see any other questions on here in chat.
Yeah.
Let's look here. And if anybody else wants to jump on, if you have a question, go ahead. We got 15 minutes here, so this is the marketing rundown here. But I had a question since I brought it up earlier about. I know we kind of danced around a little bit earlier about Facebook ads. If you have ran Facebook ads, or you have not, or it's working, it's not. Depends on the area.
I personally
I'm still wishy-washy when it comes to Facebook ads. So
I personally have not run a Facebook ad in a long time. I'm more on the numbers game than I am on the theoretical side of things. I think I want to try to get into it again, maybe in the future, when someone could give me numbers that actually show true conversions. I think I have the hardest time believing some of the things that come out of it. But Corey.
So for me, this is my take. When I'm talking to somebody and they ask me about meta ads, right? And we talk about this a lot because it comes up. Everybody wants to know. For me, Google ads are very intent driven. If you are looking to capture that lead and they are looking to buy, use Google ads. If you're looking to drive brand awareness and you think that's something very important to your brand or to your marketing strategy, that's where meta ads can actually help you more along the brand awareness side. But people are not using Facebook to go find storage. It's just, that's not how it happens. I mean, and until we really get to the point, but if you start driving brand awareness and you're really striving to ensure that you've got a brand in your community, or you've got a brand and a space there, that's where it can help you. But you're never going to be able to get that attribution to a rental. It's just more about driving brand awareness.
No, thank you. I like having those kind of analogies that help differentiate what's going on because
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
just
you
Like
can
I
spend a
have,
lot of money, but at the end of the day, if you're really focused on trying to get those rentals, I really do lean towards the Google ads still.
right.
Yeah.
And I think like I have clients. I do have clients that work in conjunction with like their communities. They do a lot of like local stuff. So their Facebook is a little bit more the community. Like if if they were to post, if they were to do an ad, they would actually be advertising to the community that they've built of people who already know who they are. That does work for them, and they've gotten conversions off of that. But that's a completely different like layered effect on them building themselves as a staple and a brand within that area. They do like movie nights, they do trunk or treat at the facility. I think during Christmas time they do gift wrapping. So they do a whole unit where they give it to the high school and they come in and they gift wrap at that unit. So things like that. And they advertise those things Facebook ads. And it's weird to advertise those things, but it's what they do to bring that community in. But there's things like that. And there's another guy who used to do a billboard. I can't remember. I think Jim, was this your story?
yeah, I screenshotted it and he's supposed to reach back out to me at the end of the summer to give me stats.
Okay, I love that.
Okay, yeah,
The community billboard, right?
yep.
Yeah, I love that. So basically he puts a billboard up and he tells everybody what's going on in the community. And now everybody knows who he is because of that. Like there's certain things that you can do that isn't going to work for everybody. And that's why having somebody who's boots on the ground or somebody who knows your facility, a marketing manager, director of marketing who can get much more familiar with your product and then produce the information over to someone like myself or Corey and say, hey, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is how we do it, this is the type of imaging we want. There's going to be a much more rounded ad that you can produce through that, and you can use that to build yourself a little bit of a Facebook presence. So that's how I would use Facebook ads. And then, circling back around to if you're trying to use something else, or if you feel like there's another area that you're missing, Bing ads is starting to get a little bit of recognition again. And it's super easy to do because Google and Bing connect. They literally connect. So if you have somebody who's doing your Google ads, you can say, hey, I would really appreciate it if you just migrated over my Google ads to Bing ads. And it literally I think automatically updates every night or whatever you decide to put it as, but it automatically update whatever you do on Google Ads over to your Bing ads if you choose to do that. Or you could, update it complete or just have it, completely migrated over and then have it managed separately. But I do suggest that putting a small budget into Bing ads to start testing out your area to see if you're getting that demographic of people who are using those
Who uses Bing?
browsers.
Who uses Bing honestly? Or is this more associated with like the AI search results we've been seeing?
It's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. I'm seeing traffic numbers trend to a little bit more towards Bing. They've just started to in the past like year or so. I think it has to do with AI traffic. But yeah, baby boomers.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've seen a few questions about that, and I promise we're gonna do a session on this about AI search results. It's just right now, it's just honestly, it's just a mess. I think there's just so many different things that are different. Oh, this is the way it's working. This is how these search results are happening. I don't know. I've just seen it all over the place. I haven't seen much of a consensus on if you do this, you start showing up in search results. I mean, there's a few things that are consistent, like citations and things like that that I've noticed. But trust me, it's on our radar. We're going to spend some time and having a nice focus session just on AI, where we're at now. Again, like I've mentioned before, it'll be outdated a week later after we talk about it. But hey, at least then we'll kind of be up to date on where we're at at this point in the AI journey.
Hey, that's awesome because I have a client that I've been working with who's been struggling to get found in ChatGPT, and I'm like, I think I can help you. Let's experiment, and it worked. So
Really?
have that
See?
conversation.
Well, that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's experimentation at this point.
Yeah, it is because
No real game plan.
it's an unknown, right? So
Right.
at least with ads, there's a lot of known. That's a good comfortable thing, right? Do your ads, get those dialed in. just make sure you have your attribution modeling. And I think one of the other thing that's super important that we kind of highlighted and touched on, but you know, just make sure that you're able to track all your conversions. And I think a part of that, Eva, we were kind of hit lightly, is make sure you're using call tracking numbers if you are doing ads, so that you can actually track those phone calls too.
And
Any of the new software is actually working really hard to make sure that you have the attribution modeling behind that. But just make sure you're tracking those phone calls, because it's a super important thing. And when we talk about operations affecting your marketing, listen to the phone calls, because, oh my goodness, if you are not answering those calls right, you're going to tank your conversion rate all day, every day. So just make sure you're using call tracking when you're doing ads and you're listening to the calls.
And again, let's just dumb it down for a second. How do they get a tracking number? Seriously. Okay, we keep saying we have to track it. Okay, what's the first step? How do they even get a tracking number to track?
I think you recommend CallRail. I do call tracking metrics, find a service.
Yeah. There's a service, and usually if you're working with a provider who's doing your ads, they're going to have, you know, call tracking phone numbers available for you. So just make sure that you're really listening to your phone calls. And I mean, even if you're not using a call tracking phone number, and you're still getting phone calls at your facility, listen to the phone calls at your facility. All your calls should be recorded. So just so you have an idea of what's happening, because it really, like, if the person answering the phone is not doing a good job of answering the phone, you're going to see it in your numbers.
Hey Corey, quick question. So we actually utilize XPS right now, and we've been utilizing them for probably the last, I would say, month and a half. Obviously, you know, it's a large service that, you know, has a lot of different facilities that they deal with in terms of people who have an actual person on site and people who don't. We don't here in Arizona. So is there any other services that you have found that have been really successful, or ones that you've partnered with, or anything else? Not to say we're going to jump ship right this second. We've just been, you know, a little frustrated with the amount of times that they've, you know, encountered calls that, you know, have been leads, and then they call them 15 times, and by the 15th call, the people are like, listen, I don't even want to do business with you guys now, even if I did, because I'm really frustrated. So we're just kind of looking for some alternative ideas to, you know, any other call services that you guys, you know, may have seen that have been successful.
I mean, you know, there's a lot of them out there. So, you know, Open Tech has their own call center operations as well. Copper State Management is offering them. But Parker, I would love to talk to you because I know you are operating a remote facility in Prescott Valley, if I'm not
Right.
mistaken.
Correct.
And I would love to talk. I'm Arizona girl originally, but I know the tech that you're currently working with, and I have done kiosks and call centers and the website for an operator, and I really feel like I could help you. I would love to connect.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And hey guys, we got like 5 minutes left. Do me a favor, everyone in chat, put in other topics, other future things you want us to talk about. Seriously, that's why we do this. This is community involvement. So any specific topics, we can weave it in, and maybe if it's great, we'll do a whole session just on that. But we'll make sure we address those kind of things. So anything with marketing or anything in general, but specifically on marketing, if you got some topics, put it in there so I can take that into light and start putting a schedule together. All right, what we got?
Screen.
What are we sharing, Eva?
Just the final screen. It's just the wrap it up.
Perfect. And Eva and Corey, did you guys put your contact info in chat?
I did.
I did.
We can put it again.
Do it again.
Put
It's
it
at the
in
bottom.
numbers.
It's
Yeah.
hidden lost. So go ahead and do that again there for you. Did you guys get some value out of this? Hopefully all good. We like doing these kind of things, but it's a little more in depth for you. There you go. Perfect. That works. Well, good. Let me stop this part here. All right. Any last requests, comments, questions? Otherwise, we'll wrap it up and we'll do it again next week. Next week will be the storage meetup where we're all on there going back and forth. But yeah, keep those topic suggestions coming here for the last minute or so. I appreciate that. Well, thank you for doing this, Corey, Neva.
Yeah, guys, it's always so much fun. I'm
love
always
it.
glad to be invited, and I love chatting with Eva. She's like my partner in crime a lot of times. So it's awesome.
It's nice. It's like sometimes we're just sitting on this little island and I'm like, do you think the same thing, Corey? And she's like, yep. And I'm like, okay. Whew. Glad to know that I'm not going crazy over here.
It's actually really a good mental check sometimes.
It is. She keeps me, it's like a checks and balances system. It's like, all right, cool. And so it keeps me honest too, because I'm like, how much am I keeping up on my game? Like I gotta make sure I'm keeping up to Corey's level too.
That's why we do this too, because you got to keep up on your game. I mean, if you just be like, oh, it's always worked, it's the way we've always done it, you're gonna get ran over real quick.
Oh, yeah.
People are getting more sophisticated, uh, especially in certain markets. But yeah, I'm seeing that more and more. It's getting harder and harder to compete, frankly. So
Yeah.
that's why we do this, because we're all trying to raise our game up.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's good to have everybody here. I'm grateful for everyone who shows up every month for us, and hopefully we can touch base on good topics and we actually get you guys the information you're looking for, and it's not just us talking for fun.
No,
We hope everybody finds it valuable. Yes.
Yeah.
no, that's
I
great.
think they'd stop showing up if they didn't, but
Yeah. They would let us know by not showing up. Exactly.
maybe they just like the circus.
We will do this again next week for the regular meetup. Sounds good. Everyone have a good weekend. Thank you for coming today.
Thanks, everybody.
Sounds good. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Take care. See ya.